Great morning, everyone, and welcome to a morning market report. Let me get started first for a excuse. No, not really excuse. Thank you so much. Yeah, for yesterday, guys. Supervisor came at last minute to the house, and I needed to take advantage of him being around. So, I mean, that also matched with yesterday's training with OC class. But don't worry, today we're going to be picking it up and we're going to be going all over the class with only trade setups using volume indicators. I think it's going to be an amazing class. In fact, now that we are kind of like losing a little bit of strength in the charts on Bitcoin, we'll need to go over that because we need to see where supports are going to be going. How is volume reacting to these lower candles, these smaller candles? Let's see, is that compression? Are we losing strength? What's going on in the market, right? Everything and more right now, today, in the morning market report. Although, also, I have a fantastic setup right now. I have some space back in here, and maybe I can take advantage of that. We'll see that when we get into the charts. That's kind of like a surprise. Maybe I can do something with that. Let me know in the side chat right here when that happens. But let me get started with you guys because you guys are the most amazing part in the show. Let me get started with Alexander GGG. What's up, Alexander G? Welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Great to have you here. We have the quit mode, of course, in the house. JR, what's up, bro? What time is it now? For you, I bet it's like once again like 5 in the morning or something. Man, you're always an early bird and also a late bat. I love it, my friend. Thank you so much for your support. Ada Ace, LFG, you know what, go. Nice, what's up, my friend? Thank you so much for stopping by. Really appreciate it. Ninja Gluck, what is up? Average Crypto Joe, what's up, beautiful people? What is up, my friend? Love to see you here. Who else we have here? CF90, what is up, my friend? And Andy is that, what is it? Background looks exactly like Vegas. Joking. That's my dream house. That's my dream house. Trading Tuition, what is up? Number 7 on the like. Absolutely. Remember to exactly love it. Remember that like does not require KYC and it's free. Guys, just consider giving the like. It really matters to us and it really helps with the algorithm. Let's get going with the news because today I have something that actually kind of surprised me a lot. I mean, GameStop once again in the news. What could it be? Another buy or sell, massive buy, massive sell, and guess what? It is that. All right, let's go into what we were talking about. I know I messed this up, but let's get started with the economic calendar. Today we have, and please, this thing, it is just going crazy on me. 1 second, maybe it's something important, and yes. Second. Sorry about that. I need to answer my wife. She's, are you live now? And yep, every single day at 8 a.m. All right, well, 8:10 today. Let's get started. So today we're going to be having a little bit of a kind of like important meeting. This is going to be at 12 p.m. EST, if I'm not mistaken, and FOMC minutes. So what does that mean? I mean, what is it important? Let's go over and take a look at a little bit of what is this important? What information could we be looking after, right? I mean, let me just show you. Basically, it is this. What happens on the FOMC minutes? They basically go over the FOMC ratings, right? So if they cut it rates or not, and the reasons behind cutting rates. Just as a quick overview, right? The reason behind the interest rates decision could be impacting the markets, and that is because, all right, what is the FOMC saying? All right, are we keeping it just like that because we're just not doing great, or are we doing great and that's why they're rising it, or or the other way around? What is the motive behind this? So it is really reveals a lot on how economy is going. Just as a quick reminder, if you see the rates rising, or if the Fed rise the rates, borrowing money gets more expensive, right? So that's why the rates are for, right? So they made interest on borrowing money. Business and consumers slow spending, and also they slow getting more loans because they're risking their assets as they get some loans, right? So there is more expensive, they have to pay more in return, and that usually it is what we're not looking for, right? If rate falls or falls, it is easier to borrowing money, so easier conditions. Bullish environment for risk assets. Why? Because you can borrow more money for cheaper, and then maybe you can invest it in somewhere else, right? Remember what happened with the pandemic, right? When everybody started getting their bills and it helps and stuff, well, then price of Bitcoin started jumping up. Why? Because it was a risky asset. Not only Bitcoin, a couple of other risky assets also went up because people have that flow of money, right? They influence expectations. What are we expecting, or what could we be changing? Well, we already explained it, right? High inflation expectations might force to Fed to rise rates, negatively impacts in the market. That means well, exactly that, right? If they rise, if we have higher inflation, well, then they're going to be rising the rates. And why is that? Because they don't want people to get entangled with that. They don't want that rise inflation to keep going up as it is, right? Low inflation, usually expectation may suggest rate cuts or pause, good for crypto. So at this point, we see that we're steady. I mean, this is good for cryptos in a way, right? I mean, 4.5, 4.5, 4.5, nothing that we have basically not seen for coming, right? How does that tie to the next FOMC meeting? In the next FOMC meeting, it is going to be somewhere in between 23 days, 20-something days, almost a month. And what's happening, 97% expect what a current, so no changes on this. I do expect this number to start balancing out just a little bit. I mean, for some reason, I am expecting some changes in the market coming. Not for some reason, but I do see chart movements that indicates me that we're gonna be needing to reevaluate this what experts believe it's going to happen, right? I do see a forecast, a little bit of a shakeout. Donato Cabrera in the house. What is up, my friend? Ada Ace, of course you are here, my friend. Who else we got here? Laser Go Pew Pew. What's up, bro? Nice to have you around, my friend. Am I missing anybody here? I don't think so. If I am, guys, let me know in the side chat. Oh, maybe. Ninja Clock. No, I already shouted you out, my friend. Double shout out. All right. So everything all right here in this part. What's going on? For example, tomorrow. Tomorrow we have GDP growth rate quarter over quarter. Second estimated Q1. I think this is going to be a little bit of a more of importance. Since we don't have any changes, I believe they're going to be saying, well, we're stable. We still need to make some work, so on and so forth. So nothing that that's going to be impacting that much in markets. If nothing is changing, we could be seeing a little bit of a slowdown on the risky markets, right? And that is because, well, then nothing exciting is happening. People start getting a little bit bored. So yeah, let's take a look at what else we're going to be having. So for Friday's a little bit more exciting. We have core PCE, personal income month over month, and personal spending. Hey, this is going to be interesting month over month. All right, I do want to see. I'm interested on this one to see. So that's what we got for today. Today, not much of a movement, I would say. We'll need to see how that plays out once we have those numbers. We'll see. All right, finally, let's go into the liquidations, how the market or how the crypto banks, if we can call them like that, they're doing. We have Atlas Prime. What is up, my friend? We also have RS Millers. What is up, my friend? Welcome. Nice to have you. Who else? I think that's it. All right, so let's see. High liquidation. Oh, we'll see. We have perfect. A little bit of a mixed bag in here. Let me show you at this point that all of our exchanges, right? Well, the highest liquidations are on Binance in here. But something interesting it is. Look at Ethereum, 54 million while BTC is actually lower, 34 million. I mean, I want to check out charts of Ethereum. We'll see how that plays out. But I will say that, well, it's not, might not be looking that great. Although 24 hours wrecked 200 millions, on longs 133.25 millions, and in shorts 67, which means we might be getting wrecked on longs. We'll see that. Maybe some of to the downside, most likely. Let's go into some crypto news. Let's not talk about Pi Network, right? I mean, it's not really out of my interests, but analysis Bitcoin long-term holders hold firm despite 47% rally from recent lows. Well, then we're just going to be going over a couple of headlines. I want to get to Twitter, to X, because that's where the real action is at this point. Ripple's surge is SEC clearly on digital assets and investments. Contract separations. That's pretty interesting. All right, SUI Foundation issued loan to Ceres for use compensation following 223 million hack. Well, we have to see how they deal with it, but I mean, nothing major. In fact, I think they should be doing a little bit more about the hack. Ethereum price cooling under. Oh, this is a little bit interesting, right? What we see on the liquidations, a little bit green. Ethereum price cooling under resistance. It's breakout towards 4,000 imminent. Yes, I think so. We'll see in the charts. Ethereum is consolidating under a critical resistance level with its bullish structure and structure impact. If volume supports the breakout, Ethereum could really rally towards 4,000 in the next impulse move. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully it does. I mean, we are in critical resistance. We know. Are we breaking out? We haven't taken a look at the charts just yet. So let's move on. Let's see those. I'm going to skip over the Forex news. Nothing really interesting at this point. I don't see something that go over. But here is the meat and the potatoes, guys. Look at that. GameStop once again on the public eye. What's going on with GameStop? Simple strategy, CC says. GameStop has purchased, man, I don't know. Every single time that I see CC, I do remember a couple of tweets that he said. Remember that when he was kind of against Bitcoin, remember that he wanted to go back into the exchange for him to get back the hacked Bitcoin, and then he was manipulating some stuff. I don't know. Now see him saying simple strategy. Well, that's what I will really would love to see at the beginning. I know people change. I know he, at this point, he's not going to be, now that he realized Bitcoin is a change, well, all right, maybe he's coming to the light. I don't know. Still don't trust that guy. But still, GameStop has purchased 4,710 Bitcoin. Oh boy, don't forget to click the like. Oh, absolutely, please don't forget to click the like button for the OC guy. Absolutely, guys. And maybe tomorrow I bring out my crop top. In fact, I got it like I was about to wear it today. We'll see. If you guys click the like button, maybe that'll become a reality. We'll see. If you want to see OC in a crop top, let me know. Not really gonna happen, but you'll see tomorrow. All right, let's see. So GameStop actually announces it. That is purchased 4,710 Bitcoin. What's going to happen with Bitcoin? I don't think this is a significant amount of Bitcoin that that's going to be actually moving the markets, but actually it's going to provide, I would say, some both stability and volatility on its assets. Why volatility? Because they're going to be susceptible to volatile Bitcoin, but also we know how Bitcoin has been performing the last, the last 3 cycles. Up only, right? I mean, yes, of course, we have 54% retracement, but remember, GameStop, how was it just playing out with, was it Aurora Kitty? I believe so, right? So I think they're trying to kind of look at expanding to new horizons. Another thing, just in European Union States, it's constant talk with the US to finalize new trade deals. Hopefully, it does get a stabilization in the market, especially with the whole things that have been happening throughout, Donald Trump tweeting and starting up the party there, but so on. Good to see that they are in communication. I will say that this brings more stability into the markets, right? I mean, people are getting a little bit more less anxious, right? I mean, yesterday was a mad day. We did not went over the news yesterday. This is not it, but remember, yesterday Donald Trump has in a statement which says that Putin went crazy and he didn't know what happened with Putin, right? Because he bumped the heck out of Ukraine. Nothing good, nothing good. I mean, that's not something that we want to see. This war needs to get at least a pause or something that start looking a little bit better. Nobody wants to be involved in wars, at least not for now. Let's go over here. So post day, Justin, Adam Back, and Lynn Eldon to speak at the world's largest Bitcoin conference today. So if you guys are waiting for those, well then I guess we need to tune in. I am going to be seeing if I can cut them live. If somebody is restreaming or somebody is streaming the live of those guys, I am really interested in that. Let's see, it's a pro. Bear, listen up. Thanks, my friend. Really appreciate it, brother. Let's go right here on the last one, and this is exciting. I love AI. I've been studying AI recently, and just in Elon Musk X AI, right? Patterns with Telegram. Oh, nice. That's gonna be nice to integrate Grok into the platform. I mean, hopefully this looks exciting, but are we really gonna be seeing? I mean, it seems like it's typing for you. I don't know how much impact it's going to have, because we see, I mean, that on WhatsApp, for example, we already have ChatGPT, right? We already have, what is the Microsoft stuff that I never used? That thing, right? And what can you do? I mean, I have asked it, hey, can you program this and program that? And they said, hey, I'm sorry, I cannot do on your calendar, but I can explain you how. I know how. I just wanted you to do it for me, right? I mean, so is it going to be a game changer? Is it just following up the trend, just to adding to some stuff? We'll have to see for releases. Hopefully this is a game changer, starting some stuff, some exciting stuff into it. We'll see. At this point, well, they are writing, but I mean, opens up the possibility to do some new stuff, right? And then finally, Kobayashi later, active stocks found managers have had a good 2025 so far. 50% of the U.S. large cap mutual funds have outperformed their benchmarks. YTD, the highest share since the 2022 bear market. That is fantastic. This is their second best year in 16 years. Usually that indicates a stronger economy, or at least a stabilizing economy, which is what we want to see so far. I still do not rule out a possible retracement of global economy. I think that needs to happen in between these couple of years, but hopefully we can have something like a soft landing, because I don't think that they're going to announce nothing like that, right? But we'll see how that plays out. Again, that's why we keep track of the CME group and also the calendars, just to see how they be playing out those numbers, and we break them down for you guys here. This comes as the S&P 500 has experienced its most volatile absolutely start to a year since 2020. Volatility is opportunity for investors. Absolutely. You buy low, you sell high, right? So that's it on the news chart. Let's go check it out on the charts. But first, let me read you guys. Let me know if you guys have something under your sleeve. If you guys have a request, I want to start taking some requests on where you guys are seeing. You want me to do a special analysis. You want me to talk about something in particular. And by the way, look at that. I got a new desk. My wife got me a new desk. I don't know if you noticed, it lowers down, it goes up automatically. And I think that is very awesome. Trying to catch a quick bounce. Thing stop. So Harper, what is up, my friend? Welcome. What are you trying to catch? On what? Let me know. I might be able to give you the analysis today. So most likely, I want to give you an analysis. Let me know what asset you are looking at. All right, seems like perfect. Let me just wait just a couple of minutes in here for you guys to start sending some setups in here. So let's go over to the charts. VVV. All right, perfect. Let's take a look at VVV. So let me do that setup and let's go to the charts. All right. We're in the charts. We'll get started with Bitcoin. Well, this is Litecoin, of course, but we'll get started with Bitcoin, and then we're going to take a look at VVV. But now I want to show you something interesting. Now that I have much more space in here, I can do stuff like, hey, look at this. Oh, look, I have a full body, guys. Look, I mean, we have the zero line, we have the top part, we have, the overbought, the oversold. I think that would be fantastic. I don't know if you guys could hear it. Maybe I get a clip on microphone, but so far, maybe we can do something with that. I mean, that is kind of like a fun to see myself like tiny itty bitty right there in the middle of the screen. I don't know. Let me know if that. I love you, bro. All right, so let me know if that would be something that you would like to see, more interaction. I mean, I can actually scroll back down and start interacting with stuff. I don't know. Let me know. This episode a lot of volatility here. Love it, bro. Thank you. All right, so let's go to the charts. Let's get started with Bitcoin. We'll go over BBB. This is what we were expecting last time. Remember that we were looking for either, because this is half of the story, either a double top for the best case scenario, or for the worst case scenario, guess what? A dead cat bounce, all right? Let me see, dead cat bounce. Just so we remember what is it and how there it is. Here it is. All right, let's go to images. And of course, this is basically a dead cat bounce when we have a topping here, then we go back down, and then we have a retracement to the upside that is just big enough to trap bulls in it, and then it retraces back down, right? And then, well, you know the rest. Basically, this is it. So something important is that we can sometimes take advantage of this, and if we time it just right, we can do it. In fact, let me go to Oldie here, because here is a perfect example all the way right here, how we expect a dead cat bounce, and then we go back down. Look at that trend line that is right there, right? Oh, can I do it? Yeah, right here. Oh, the other way around. Man, this is hard. And then you see how that breaks out below the trend line, right? So we have a breakout, retest, off we go. Also retest, of course. All right, so what's going on here? We had our trend line or support line, right? That we were not wanted to break. Why? Because this would have been just basically losing some lows. Let's go a little bit more in depth in here, and we're gonna be switching between charts. You'll see that I have a lot of drawings in here, and that is because we analyze this on the 15 minutes, but we'll see in a second. But so far, we also have an M pattern. So this is a topping or a top, a reversal signal in here, right? Here we have something like an M pattern, well, I was at an inverted Adam and Eve, right? Sorry about that. You take some water. Hopefully that was beer or Coca-Cola. Nice, Coca-Cola not a sponsor. If you're watching, give me a call, my friend. All right. So the point is that we are looking for some topping patterns, and after the little range, which by the way, it's not that we have lost it. I mean, look at that. If we just take out what I just said, which is the dead cat bounce, right? We can actually, and let's go to other Bitcoin chart, we can actually start predicting maybe some other movements. In fact, look at that. I know it's in 15 minutes, but look at that, nailed it, right? But so far, let's see. If we just take into consideration this high, right? We start ignoring this part, but if take into consideration this part in here, and we do this, you'll notice that we are also in a megaphone. Let me talk about morphology, all right? Why? Because we can go nuts trying to figure out what is the right figure, what is the right pattern. You should tell you guys, don't go that crazy on it. Whatever you see is whatever you're going to trade. Don't go first and trying to, get every single possibility of the market. That was me, all right? That was me. I used to do that. And now it comes a little naturally, but I want to talk about that morphology, how one pattern changes into another. Just keep track on what you're seeing, all right? Why? Because if we bounce, and let's first imagine that we don't see this line, all right? Let's first imagine we don't see that line. If we come back here and we bounce up and then we take this high, we retrace and we start moving upward. Now that you see this trend line here, well, you said, well, my next target is going to be somewhere around here, right? Let's hide. Oh, come on. Let's just hide for a second this trend line, all right? So at that point, you're going to be seeing, oh, what happened here that we did not went all the way down? Well, then maybe this is not the pivot and this one is. You see how we went from a megaphone to now a rising channel because of reaction? Yes, you might be losing on a possible entry here. But also, guess what's going on in here? We need to give it a little bit more time in here. Why? Because we're breaking through your zero line. So is this an actual entry? I mean, in the lower time frame, 15, 5, 3 minutes, I absolutely think it could be, right? And we could be catching a 1% movement. Or at least a volatility movement in there, all right? But now let me go back, perfect, and let's also add the lock button right now. So now that I zoom out and I see a big, huge trend line, well then now things changed for me. Why? Because this is a long-lasting trend line, right? So could I be having flip of the ribbon? Now I am a bit more inclined to have that flip of the ribbon. And if I take a look at this low and maybe I do a fake out here, all right? Maybe I can start creating a bullish divergence, all right? So I'm forecasting what could be playing out in here. All right, so let me see if I can just clean this up and let's dive into the 15 minutes. Because I think in the 15 minutes, we're going to have a much cleaner version of what could happen in this M pattern and what is the neckline of that M pattern. Do you see what I just draw? Let's just go back in here and you see that it was exactly what we were expecting minus a possibility of breakout making a double macro top and then coming back down. So far, I believe that we're going to have this in pattern, a little bit of a bouncing here or a little bit of a fake out. There we go. And then continuation. Let's bring up a couple of other indicators to see. All right, we're piercing through a trend line that is automatically plotted here by Chart Prime. All right. What other we have? What else we have? We have a reaction zone, perfect. A liquidity zone, that's the reaction zone name, all right? So going into, you see what or how I was just mangling this candle, right? Breakout, so 84 hours, I don't think that this is gonna be playing out like that. In the 15 minutes, we're gonna see a multi-candle play out like that. Maybe here in the 4 hours, we're gonna see 1 or 2 candles. And if we're lucky enough, depending on how that flip of the ribbon reacts, we have dynamic reactors, support, trend line, and then the other megaphone. So we started to see a concentration of stuff somewhere around the 106K in here. So 1 second, please. Oh, my beautiful wife brought me some breakfast. Love her. She is fantastic. MJ, I know you're not watching it, but thank you so much. Really appreciate it, honey. All right, so we'll see here. Let's go and bring up other kind of indicators. Let's see what else we have. Major supports all the way at 103. If we start losing this trend line, we start losing this area, and that is because we don't see a flip of the ribbon, we just see a continuation downwards, well then we're going to be expecting the flip of the ribbon, of course, to happen at the bottom, at the bottom, at the bottom, or somewhere around those zones, and most likely we're going to be hitting dynamic reactor and lower zones. All right, so at this point of the 4 hours, we are in a waiting zone. We're still bullish. Look at our prime score, bullish. Consolidated score, it is medium. So we are consolidating, and yes, of course, we are consolidating. What's going to be the meaningful low to hit between this one and this one? If we start losing this low, which coincides with the area that we're looking at, all right, then we will need to start worrying about a possible breakdown of that dynamic reactor. And if you're new here, you might be saying, well, what is that dynamic reactor? It looks so special. And what is it? Is it with it that we're going to be scared if we break out, or we need to start getting worried about it? Well, let me show you. Once we break down of it, right? There we go. It's not about your breakout. It's about your retest. Bounce, bounce, bounce. All right. I'm not going to fill up this with circles, but fake out continuation, fake out continuation, fake out continuation, fake out continuation. That was a good fake out. We need to acknowledge that, right? Once again, fake continuation, bounce, bounce. Now breakout retest, nice. Now we're talking, right? We are made it above the dynamic reactor. Breakout retest, secondary retest, perfect. Your third entry here. We're flipping back above the zero line, nice, right? We have one flip of the ribbon. Your last chance to enter, and off we go. And since we are above the dynamic reactor, bounce, bounce, almost bounce. Look at that, ranging bounce, right? So that's why it's so important to look at your dynamic reactor. If you don't have Chart Prime Pro or in any indicators, consider joining the late class with Trade with OC. Here is OC, by the way. Hello, if you're new here. And I give you a rundown from zero to hero with free and paid indicators, right? I show you how to use, for example, the linear regression trend assistance. We'll also take a look at the Gauss trend crossing. We created a substitution for the dynamic reactor, which we call the SMA combo. So you're getting full pack in there. And we use free indicators from Chart Prime, and also just plain free indicators, and also show you how to use or translate that with paid indicators. There's a niche for everyone. Just check it out. It is free, and you don't need to pay anything else. Also, if you like and decide that you're going to go in with Chart Prime, remember that we have a 40% discount coupon right down there. You need to use the link. And then at the checkout, you're going to have the 40% on the monthly on your first month. Little secret. You can do another month if you create another account, all right, with another email. Don't do it too much because you get banned, all right? You get a warning first. But once or twice, it's okay. It's okay. We let that slide. All right. Buck, what is up, bro? Really excited for what we talked about last time. I'm really excited, to be honest. By the way, I contracted a couple of guys that are going to be cleaning up my warehouse. Yes, I have a warehouse in the home because that used to be my 2-story garage, which was my workshop for woodworking. Now it's my storage. 1.5 storage. But that'll be fantastic. We'll see. Let's go and take a look at Ethereum. We talked about Ethereum. How is Ethereum doing? Well, way better than we were expecting. That we were expecting possible fake out or breakout in here on an inverse head and shoulders. Let me clear this up. Oh, you know what? We didn't went over the 15 minutes on the Bitcoin. Maybe we'll do that at the end of the class. We're still on the same range. All right. We are on the big resistance. All right. Nothing new. Something interesting that is happening is that we're having this formation. I like it. Why? Look at that breakout, retest, and let's zoom in. This is going to be interesting. All right. Why? Because if we start using our box streak and we measure this movement, look at where we hit it off at the center, right? Can we do the same in here? I don't know. Let's do it at the top and then from the beginning of that movement at the center. Nice. What if we retrace or we measure the full movement? We usually are looking for between two areas. One, and I'm talking about the here, the square thing, all right? the box. So usually we look both at your zero line, your center line for a full retracement, or 1/3, right? One here, 1/3 of a retracement for an early momentum retracement. You see, what are we having right here? Almost or a little bit over 1/3, right? But I'll call it 1/30 here. Remember, the markets are perfectly imperfect. So is this bullish? It is bullish. Are we out of the blue now? Not just now. When do we enter? At the flip of the ribbon, and I would long position somewhere around here. All right, maybe I can catch it. Let's go to the next candle. My stop loss at the previous low. Give myself a little bit of a wiggle room. I'm going to expand it just ever so slightly. And then I want to give myself just a little bit more in here, right? How am I going to be deciding how much more? Because I have, there we go, my predictive ranges. And also I have my box here. But why am I going all the way up there? Right, previous weekly high, at the top of that previous weekly high, but I have an ace behind my sleeve. There it is, my premium zone. All right, what else do I have in here? Let me see, something right there. There we go. Oh, above a loud order block. Let me just start getting rid of things in here. I was not aware of this loud order block. All right, it is highly bullish, but still a resistance, right? So that's why we see that retracement. All right. Nonetheless, you know what? I'm going to keep it at the top of the loud order block. That's it. I'm not going to be playing my odds, but what I do want to mention is that we have a soft order block. We might see some migration from this bullishness to this bullishness. So that's why my stop loss needs to be like somewhere around there. All right. If I get stopped out, that's fine. I can go back and retry it right down below on my dashed zone. That's why I have an alert, which is very close to my predictive range and my order block. In fact, I'm going to be updating my alert right here at the middle. All right. So that's going to be my setup for today. I'm looking for a long on Ethereum, despite I am at the top. That's why I'm using a stop loss. I don't want to buy tops and get trapped on it. All right. But I see momentum. I am above the zero line. My prime score is 8. Yes, I don't have a very high consolidation score, which is what I would be looking for. But I think we got the odds on our favor. Do we have some retracement in here? Yes, but I'll be looking just like in here, some green candle. So my entry is not yet set up, right? Remember, I want to see that green candle. I want to see right here my oscillator bounce. All right. Something interesting that I also failed to mention, it is look at my money flow, guys, and this is what I'm looking for. All right. This is what is getting me excited. The money flow. Money flow is rising up after a period of decreasing. So, guys, let me know in the side chat. I know you know this, guys. Especially we got Alexander, we have Jesse. What's up, Jesse, my friend? Welcome. We also have Wick's wife. We have Little Fish. What's up, bro? By the way, FOMC minutes today at 14. Absolutely, bro. We'll see how that plays out. So we could be expecting some volatility, although I don't think that it's going to be that much because we should at the same numbers. But thank you so much, Little Fish. Really appreciate that, my friends. All right, so I know you know this, right? But what do we expect when money flow decreases? What do we expect when money flow goes into the red? We usually expect, and I know I have a delay, so I'm going to go ahead. I know you know this, so please type it out. Type it out right there, that way. Right? We expect the price to go down. What happened? Did it went down? Yes, it went down, but it stood in the micro range. All right, let's give it a look. I mean, this is a range, isn't it? I mean, heck, this is a top triangle, right? A flat top triangle. Usually flat top triangles, where do they break to? They break to the upside, usually. All right. So I'm cautiously optimistic today. I think that we could be having this flip at the ribbon because we have the money flow. All right. And I don't remember who was asking about the indicators on Monday, like if they should be having pro or plus. I advise to go with the cheapest one, just for learning it, right? So pro. at this point. But sometimes it's just convenient to have that much more or that little itty bitty more of help, right? So if you're still here, my friend, this is what I was telling you. Go watch the videos on how I use the indicators. That'll give you a perspective of which maybe would be fitting your needs. Do you want to, are you a fast learner, right? And this is, I mean, sometimes I'm a fast learner, sometimes I'm a very, very slow learner. And it's important for you to understand that when are you fast learning and where you're not, because we don't want you to waste your money. We want you to make some profits, all right? So when talking about the indicators, it's better first, go slow, and then as you need it, upgrade it. But if you feel like you're ready to go all in and you will be needing that extra information, please go for it, right? So once again, not financial advice, but trying to save you maybe some money. Let me make myself baking here. All right. Crypto Seme? What's up, bro? All right, so let's go and let's take a look at Litecoin and then VVV. All right, Litecoin, I wasn't here because I was looking for a possible reaction, especially in the 15 minutes. Let's go here in the 15 minutes. We have a big pump and dump. All right, let's bring up our indicators in here, and I want to show you a couple of stuff in here. We're losing the dynamic reactor, but also it's not new that we have lost it in here, right? But we are kind of like a rounding here, all right? Our consolidation score is 0, so we are trending and we are bearish. So we should keep going slightly more bearish. Is this a signal for a short? No. Look at the amount of support that we have, all right? We're going through that support. Support's lost. Now we're going into the important part, right here on the liquidity zone. And the support line in here. So maybe if we see that flip of the ribbon right here, we can catch a fast-moving reaction to the dynamic reactor. We're talking about at least a movement of 0.83. All right, if you're doing 10x, you're going to be looking at 8.3% movement. All right, so what then I'm going to be doing there? Moving my stop to entry and holding it. Why? Because if I do the big moving here, remember this is the 50 minutes. I'm not expecting crazy moves, but I could be looking at a 1.91%, right? Which is going to basically fill up the gap for today, which at a 10x, that will be a little less of 19% in one movement. So there's a chance in here on Litecoin. That's why I just wanted to show you guys. Not too excited, but I am looking into maybe getting to that risk, right? And that is because Bitcoin is having that rise up of money flow. But we'll see how that plays out. Let's go and take a look at that finally, right? Finally, VVV. And that is Rapid Ethereum, isn't it? All right, let's take a look at that. I mean, I don't know how you guys like it so much, but why not? Let's go first to the 4 hour. Let's see how that held up our prediction here. And we were expecting maybe a breakout, retest, and I think actually it was not point to point, but remember, breakout, retest. Where were we looking for the retest? At the, and let me just leave that as is. I need to make less spaghetti, man. At the next support. All right, perfect. What happens is that we went, look at our top. We went slightly higher. And look at that. I'm not moving my scrambling. It actually just fell in line with where we were expecting, right? At the retracement expectation. And that is because we had another support zone, our discount, and we created, look at that falling wedge. That falling wedge, just so you know, appeared just before we predicted it manually, right? So that's why you also want to keep in one of your layers your patterns, because they usually played out much better based on the mathematical gathering or sums or divisions or whatever it is doing of the candles. Close price action, just so you know. Candles close price action. That usually indicates that we have a much more precise calculation, but it's important to use your brain and forecast it. So what are we expecting right now? Well, then let's get rid of this because we are ranging. Ranging at this moment is good. Why? Look at your money flow. Look at your money flow. We should be going lower and we're not. All right. Also look at that I have an entry zone in here. So there's also the chance that this is not it. We can have some sweep of the lows and then going back up, especially since we're making a very sad goose heading here. Look at what's happening here. This is, of course, this is not a goose head, right? But went down, create a higher low, right? And then push upwards here. So I think we can go low here, maybe sweep of the lows, a swing fail pattern, and then make it back to this area. We still need to wait. I would say just be patient because look at our consolidation score. It's about to break the consolidation. What consolidation? This consolidation. Are we aiming downwards? Yes. Do I think that we're going to break downwards? I absolutely think so, and I think that that could be a great opportunity for an entry. So that's what I'm going to be setting out my entry point somewhere around here. All right, HARP. Oh, yeah, not today. I did not get orange juice. Oh, wait, I do. My wife actually brought me one. It's all the way there, but it's not with coffee, bro. Please tell me that you have tried it already. Let me know. All right, guys. I think that is, we're running out of time. Cryptosum over the river and through the woods. Well, I have to go into a couple of minutes. Absolutely, my friend. Thank you for stopping by, Jesse. Really appreciate it, bro. Kylie Fields, what's up? Alexandra, JC Glue, good morning, my friend. So I think that is it for today, guys. Let's go to the solo chart. Right now, we're going to have the chart prep class. If you guys have access to this chart prep class, I'm going to be seeing you there. Also, we're going to have another Discord class farther through the day. Hopefully, you guys can assist. If not, we'll see you guys today in the night. Remember, tonight only setups based on the volume indicators that we learned. It was not just it was Monday. All right, Friday and Monday. So other than that, guys, thank you so much for whining. As always, please click that like button since that really helps with the algorithm. And do not remember to also send this to a friend. If you think this was helpful, send it to your best friend. If you think this was a waste of time, send it to your enemy. Still, just share it. It's free. All right. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for joining. And as always, see you guys tomorrow. And I cannot find my outro here. Oh, maybe it's this one? I don't know what they keep telling me. I don't know what they keep telling me. Ain't no school like Piper Academy. Keep that way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling up the wheels flow low. I know you hungry for knowledge, that's profit appetite. Classes in session, this for the Army Piper acolytes. Trade flag at the soul, train ready. What a line from OCI, form a Mexican spaghetti, yo. Crunch crypto with a deep dive to project dime. And if you like the visual powered by Car Prime, then you were part of that alumni, that's all spine. But if you have step, fall back to offline. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling up the wheels flow low. Sound off. To get rhythm, the ZTS rhythm. Rip it, Alexandra. Yeah, that's my alumni, you know what I mean. That was awesome, dude!